everybody, it's Designs by Marge, and as promised, we're going to work on the Christmas countdown, the Advent calendar for Christmas. And so you'll find this on page 38 of the holiday catalog. The supplies that you're going to need are the Christmas countdown stamp set, Mossy Meadow, Early Espresso, and Cherry Cobbler inks, some snail, and dimensionals, okay? And those are all the supplies that you're going to need today for this. So I will get the camera changed and be right back. Okay, so we're going to be opening the box here. We're starting from scratch. And so when you open the box with the Advent calendar, you see that it's a very sturdy box with 25 smaller boxes inside and a place to put your finger. As you can see, I really didn't open it because now I have to struggle to get the plastic off of it. So as we get the plastic off, you can see that on the back side there's the project kit instructions and the decals and the stickers and all the things that go with it. So now we have that off, and let's take a look at what's inside. I see the instructions there to the left, and as we're opening it up, we can see all the pretty stickers that are involved there with the bows and the stripes and the wreaths and the flowers and the numbers and all of the covers for the boxes. So we'll get started in putting that together. So I started off by laying out 5 of the boxes. There's 5 per row, 5 rows. And which of course is 25. And so I wanted to see first of all to how the instructions tell you to put it together. So for the first 7 boxes, we're going to follow the instructions to the letter. So the first box is red, and we're going to go ahead and put it onto the box with our snail glue, or our snail adhesive. And you can see that it's really easy to do. I mean, it just lines right up and lays down. And so now we're going to put a snowflake on there, just as the instructions tell us to. And they're difficult for me to get on because I have a decreased feeling in my fingers. So they're really not that difficult to get off, just for me. It's hard for me to feel them. So the snowflake is gorgeous against the red. And now we're going to put the number 1 on there, signifying the first day of our Advent calendar. So we're going to use a little piece of, we're going to use a dimensional to put on the back of the number and then place the number onto the box. And there it is. And you can see that it matches number 1 perfectly. Well, pretty much. So now we're going to do number 2. And so we're looking for the cover for the box. And there are 2 sheets of stickers for the box covers. Well, actually, I guess there's 4 because there are 2 short ones. So now we're going to put a stamp on here, and it's the sprig of pine, and using Early Espresso to transfer that onto the front of the cover for the box. I didn't do anything without having some protection underneath it. But it's the whole sprig is not going to fit on that 2x2 square. So you'll notice that I had to stamp that twice in order to get it to work correctly. I didn't have enough ink and my pad, so and now we're putting our number 2 on there. And I would suggest that you use your snail adhesive before you put the dimensional on there. It makes it a little easier, but you can see that you can do it. But it makes it a lot easier if you use your snail adhesive before you put your number on there. And there's our number 2. So now we're going on to number 3. And you can see number 3 is a green, all green with red and green stripes. So we'll pull that out of the packaging. And you see it's got just a little bit of gold foil in there. And then we'll get our red and green stripes and place them on the piece that goes over the box, bringing it up about, I think it's about 1/4 inch. And then we're going to add on there a red and white flower. And then we'll finish it off with our number after we have put our snail adhesive on. So that's not the only time you'll see me putting the snail adhesive on after I have put the number on the box. I kept forgetting to do that all the way through. Okay, so now we're going to put our little number on, which will be number 3. It was an easy box to put together. It took less than an hour to do, straight from the box. As you saw, I hadn't opened it, had never looked at it, and so that's how easy it is to put together and to use for your Halloween needs. Your Christmas needs. And so now we're on to already box number 4. And box number 4 has that little design underneath that we're going to be making with 2 of the stamps, the rubber stamps. There are 2 long pieces. You can have the one with the flower in the middle and then a border on each side. So the one in the middle, the one with the flowers, we're going to do in cherry cobbler. And just to ink it up real nice, because the ends don't matter. It's not that long. It's a 2x2 square. And you do it right in the center of your cardstock. Okay, and then there's our little border, and we're going to do our border in, I think it's Mossy Meadow. Yes. And one at the top and one at the bottom, so that it outlines our flowers really pretty. Okay, so now we're going to put our number right in the center of that one. Isn't that pretty? It just turned out very well. Even though on the paper it really looked crooked, it was not. And so now we're going to put our dimensional on the back of that. And box number 4 is finished. As soon as we put it on the, see, I did it again and put my number on before my snail. Oh well. But don't they make just gorgeous boxes? They're just, and they're very sturdy. So they'll hold, I think, at least 3 or maybe 4 pieces of candy. And now we're on to number 5, which is the Christmas tree. And so we'll pull the Christmas tree, and you notice that there is a little bit of gold foil in there with the stars. And so that makes it a pretty covering for the box. So now I'm trying to decide what it is I'm supposed to do, but it's just the end of a bow. And there's our number 5. And I thought that was just lovely. It just turned out beautifully, I thought. And then my snail. And so when we finish doing the 7 designs that they give you instructions for, actually there's 8 because you need Christmas Day. But after we finish doing the 8 boxes, then we're going to be doing what I designed. And so I will fast forward that part, but you'll get to see every box that I put in. And then the finished product at the end. Isn't that pretty? I think it turned out just gorgeous. So now we're going on to box number 6. And box number 6 is a combination of the green and the wood effect. And so I thought that was just gorgeous as well. And so we're going to put a divider in there, a gold divider, which, believe it or not, was difficult for me to get on. It's hard to hold on to. I had just a little bit of trouble trying to line it up where I wanted it. I wanted it a little bit into the green, but not like halfway. Okay, and so now we're going to use a big bow. Which is already just gorgeous. And then, See, I remembered to use my snail adhesive. Wasn't that wonderful? Made it a little easier on myself. And so we're going to slip that into place, and you just want just the barest outline of the cover of your box to show from under your cover. And now we're going to add our number. And this is box number 6. Isn't it gorgeous? They just turned out so well. And now we're moving on to box number 7, which I thought was awfully pretty too. On that, the sprig of pine on that bleached wood, I thought was just beautiful. Very, very Christmassy. It's really hard to tell that it's a bleached wood effect, and it's got all those little gold dots in it. And I carefully removed the sprigs because I have a lack of feeling in my fingers, and so I can't tell when I've torn it. So I try to be extra careful, which makes it a little slower, but that's okay, huh? The point is to get it done and to enjoy doing it. So I don't get in a huge rush when I'm doing my creating. I like to enjoy it. And so now we're going to load it on our box. And then we're going to add our number. I had a hateful little piece of glue on my paper that would not leave me alone. And there's number 7, isn't it pretty? So now we're moving on. There's our 7. So now we're going to do our Christmas. Christmas is obviously special, and so that's how we're going to make it. And we're going to take another one of those with the bleached wood with the little stars in it. And then we're going to use a stamp of the dots. And we're going to do those in cherry cobbler, as you can see there. And it looks kind of funky whenever you do it this way, but after you put the pieces on, it looks great. See, doesn't that look like, okay. So it just looks like a dotted mess, doesn't it? But now we're going to add the wreath. And they really do come off very easy, which I was so thankful for. Sometimes you do have to poke some of them out, but not very often. They came out, as you can see. The things that were supposed to stay behind stayed behind for the most part. And put that right in the center. And then we're going to put our ribbon end I almost used gold. They used red, but I wanted to follow along with the instructions. Or I would have, because I like the gold. So the number 25 is in gold, signifying that that is the special day. And so we're going to load that on. And you notice I did not use my snail again. I got too excited, I think. And my snail gave me a problem. And then we're lining that up. And adding it to our box. Oop. That was hard to see, sorry. So there it is. And it turned out, I thought, pretty nice. Okay, so now we're going to start with 8. And at this point, I'm going to increase the speed on the video just a little bit. So hold on. So that's the end of our program here in making the Advent calendar for Christmas. I hope you enjoyed it and you'll want one for yourself.